Okay then, so now in this video what we are going to do is we are going to build a tic-tac-toe application just by using basic HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Okay, so let me demonstrate this application. So we all know the game called X and zeros, right? So as a first player, I'm plotting my X over here, and as a second player, I need to plot my against this player, so over here, and now mark again X, and I should not allow this user to win, so I need to play over here and I'm marking the X over here. So as a user I need to block here or I can here, either way X wins, right? So let me block the O over here, so I'll block it here. So now we can see X wins, right? So we know that the X is win the game. So now all I have to do is to click this restart this game, so I can play again and again. See, you can see we are simply swapping the user over here. If the none of them, okay, so X wins over here. See, this is what. So this is what we are going to build this application. So this is what we are going to build just by using HTML, CSS and JavaScript, the tic-tac-toe game. So without wasting your time, let's get started. So let me keep it on the side, and here I'm going to create a new folder called tic-tac-toe. Wait a minute, tic-tac-toe. All right, so let me open this on the Visual Studio Code. Open it and let me bring it over here. Perfect. And let me increase the size so you can see it clearly. All right, so now what we need to do is, all we have to do is to create the project folder structure. So let's create a new project folder here called public, and we are going to create a new folder, one more inside, which is called assets, and inside the public create one more file called index.html, and inside the assets create a new file called js, inside the assets new folder called css, and inside the assets new folder called what is that? Okay, not necessary, we are not going to use any images at all, so let's keep it as it is. Okay, so now inside here, so let's bring this boilerplate codes, and inside the css folder let's create a new file called styles.css, and inside the JavaScript I'm gonna create main.javascript. So save those, all those changes, and here let's change this to tic-tac-toe, and let's link those styles.css/assets css styles.css, and right after here scripts, which is going to be source./assets javascript main.javascript file. Save it. Now let's open this one on the live server. There we go. So this is what we do have, and this is what we need to build. So if you have a look at it, we need to bring this h1 tag, and we need to bring this 9 different cells inside a single division, and we need to bring this buttons and everything. So let's go ahead and bring the wireframes over here. So we all know that this is completely inside a container, right? This is completely inside a container, and this is one h1 tag, and this is a completely division, and inside each one of them is going to be a single division block where we are having the inner text as x and o. Just like that, we have 9 different cells, and this one is going to be a separate button, and this is going to be a separate division where it's having this paragraph tag, and as well as it's having this button. So this is how exactly the structure which we need to design. So let's go ahead and start designing it, and that is what we are going to do right now. So let's bring the wireframe. So in order to bring the wireframe, what I have to do is, okay, so first we need to create that container. So I'm just going to say dot, oops, I press the caps lock, dot container, which is going to be division dot container. Then I need to bring the h1 tag, which is going to be tic-tac-toe, something like this. Then I'm going to bring a division with an ID, which is going to be that game board, which is say game -board and hash game -board, something like this. If you press the tab key, this is how it will be created. Okay, then inside here I'm going to create 9 different cells. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a cell with this attribute called data cell. So I can use this attribute in order to access all these things in a single select statement in the JavaScript. So I need to create 8 more. So this is 9. So this is the first one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Totally 9 different cells. Okay. And then right after that, we do have this button. So right after this division, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a button with the type of button itself, and the ID should be restart button. Okay, and inside this button I'm just going to say restart game, something like this. This is how it should be. Then right after here I'm going to create a class called winner hyphen message with the ID called winner message or winner hyphen message, whatever it is. Okay, and inside this division I'm going to create a div with this custom attribute data winner message text. And right after here I'm going to bring this button and put it over here, and this time this is going to be restart. Okay, just like that. So this division will be displayed only if the user wins or draw or so whatever it is. At that point only it will be displayed. But if you refresh it, this is how this restart button needs to be persistent even when you're playing the game. Okay, so now this is the complete wireframe, right? So we've created ourselves a complete wireframe structure. Now all we have to do is to go ahead and start customizing this tic-tac-toe. So that is what we are going to do now. So we all know that this is not looking exactly something like this. So let's go ahead and create that application styling purpose. So let's go ahead and start doing the stylings. Okay, so I'm gonna, it's by default you can see it's using this default styles, but here it's using a different styles. So in order to do that, we are going to use the Google fonts, right? So Google fonts, so you can click this Google fonts and you can search for instance I'm going to use the Roboto. So Roboto, this is the one, Roboto. So if you click this, you can see this is the font that we are trying to use over here. So here if you click this selected families, so I think I already selected this font. That's the reason it's showing over here as a selected families. For if you're using this font for a very first time, you can see the get font family here. Click it. Otherwise click this, which is already highlighted, and here you need to use this get embedded code. So click the get embedded code. You will get either the link tag or you will get the import style. So if you don't wish to do all these things through the Google Fonts website, you can directly go to your file extensions tab and search for Google Fonts, which is much easier way when compared to that. So install this Google Fonts, and once you downloaded that, and all you have to do is to keep your cursor at the top of the line, and let's say Control Shift P or Command Shift P, simply search for Google Fonts. And you should be able to find insert link and add import CSS. So add import, that is the one that we need to use because we are trying to import the font directly through the CSS file. So choose that one, and that is going to allow you to choose what font that you are trying to do. You can type all the fonts which is available in the Google font. So I'm going to bring the Roboto, the very first one, import it. So that is how you need to import the font inside your CSS file, which is comparatively easy when you're simply copying and pasting it over here. All right, so now all I have to do is to, as usual, we need to remove the margin, which is going to be 0, and padding, which is going to be 0 as well as, and the box sizing, that is also, it's going to be the border box. So save it, and then body tag, which is going to be the background color. So I'm going to give the background color as F5, F5, F5. Save these changes, and now you should be able to see some changes in the background color, but we don't have changes on the font styles and everything. So let's bring it completely in the center. Before that, I need to fix the width and height. Width, which is going to be 100 viewport width. So whatever the screen that you're trying to load, it should take the complete width and height, and it should see 100% VH. All right, and then align the items in the center. So we need to make it as a display as a flex box, then save it. You should be able to see from the top to bottom. Now it is exactly in the center, and justify the content in the center. That will brings it from left to right. And then I'm going to assign the font family, which is going to be this Roboto, And if the roboto is not available, which is not loaded for some reason, use the sans serif. Now you can see the font is changed. And then now I'm gonna write the styles for this container. So copy it, and right after here I'm just going to say dot container. So I'm gonna bring the entire text should be in the center. That brings everything in the center. Then right after here inside the container I do have this h1 tag. So for the h1 tag, what we are going to do is we are going to add some styles. So font size, which is going to be 2 eminent points, which is nothing but 1 eminent point, which is equals to 16 pixels, which means 2 eminent points means 32 pixels, right? Either you can go for pixels or you can go for points. Then the color of this, which is going to be #333, which is which is quite dark charcoal gray. Okay. Then right after here I'm going to write the styles for this dot game board. So I'm going to copy this class attribute, so use the dot over here. Then I'm going to say make sure that is the display as a grid. So far we can't see anything over here. So before that, moving into that, I'm going to target this cell which is inside that, right? So I need to see, then only I can apply some styles for it. So let's write some styles for. So I'm going to make this width as 100 pixel and height as the 100 pixel. Then background color, of course I'm going to make this as a white color. Then I'm going to bring some border, which is going to be 2 pixels solid color, which is nothing but CCC. Okay, something like this. And everything inside that text needs to be in the center. So if I click this, you can see it's having the X content in the center. So in order to do that, I'm going to bring this display flex, align item center, justify the content in the center. All right. And then font size, of course, it's going to be 2 eminent points, and cursor, of course, it should be pointer. And transitions, so transition, the reason when I'm hovering it, you should be able to see we have some coloring changes there, so that it is smooth. The transactions, that particular transition needs to be so smooth, so that's the reason. So I'm going to target this background color. So whenever there is a changes on this background color, the transition always should be 0.3 seconds with delay effects. Okay, if you save these changes, now you should be able to see all these things. So now if once I make this grid, I need to mention how many columns that you are going to keep it in a single line. So I'm just going to mention grid template columns. It should repeat, it doesn't matter how many times that rows are going to be, it should repeat 3 columns, and the minimum column size should be 100 pixels. Save it. This is how it should looks like. Then I'm going to increase the gap between each and every element, gap as a 10 pixels. Then margin, that game board should be from the top and bottom, it should have 20 pixels. And then left and right, it should be auto. So save this changes. Now it have some space on the top, and it should, you can see they are equally distributed, the gap as 10 pixels all the way x-axis and y-axis. Perfect. Then next, what I need to do, I need to target this button. So that is what we are going to do now. So let's get back to here. So right after this cell, so we need to bring the hover effects, right? So let's target the hover effect for this. So dot cell colon hover, open it. So here I'm just going to say background color, which is going to be #EE. Then I'm going to target this winner message. So let's copy this winner message, copy it, and dot winner message, which is going to be display none. Basically, we don't want to display anything over here. This restart button, initially it should be displayed as a none. Then margin top should be 20 pixels. Oops. Margin top should be 20 pixels. Save the changes. Then right after that, we need to target the button. So basically what I'm going to do is for this button, I'm going to say margin top, which is going to be 20 pixels. So that will increase the space from that game board. Then I'm going to increase the padding. So padding, which is going to be 10 pixels and 20 pixels. All right. And font size, which is going to be 1 eminent points. Then let's bring the cursor as a pointer 1, and the background color, it should be #6200EA, which is like a purple color, or sorry, the purple or lavender, whatever it is. Then white color, and then the border, it should be none. Then we don't need any outline. So outline also should be none. Then we need to change the border radius, which is going to be 5 pixels. Then of course we need to bring the transitions for the background color. So let's bring the background color. For that background color, again 0.3 seconds. And right after here, I'm gonna bring the button colon over event, which is going to be having that background color as hash 3700B3. Save it. Okay, now if you are applying the hover event, you should able to see some changes for that button. This will apply for both of the buttons which we have inside this division styles. Then for, if you check it out over here, for X it's blue color, and for O it is in red color, so to show the differentiation. So in order to do that, for X I'm gonna say color, of course, which is going to be blue, and for dot O I'm gonna change the color as red. So they basically, these classes are be added up only by when you're clicking over here. So we need to bring that inner text whenever you are clicking it. So this is what we are going to do. Okay, so we literally finished the complete UI, right? So now only one thing which is remaining, that's nothing but our JavaScript actions, and that is what we are going to do next. All right, so on the next section we are going to do that actions.